Yeah, Michael, go ahead. Michael, you there?
Hey, Ian, sorry about that. Michael McCammon, Cardinal Authority. You made the decision earlier prior to this season to come back for another year at the University of Louisville. Just some, I guess, quick background on what went into that decision and your thoughts on how the season's going since making that decision.
Yeah, that decision was made kind of during March, right when quarantine was starting. Sat down with my dad, and we talked about what was guaranteed, and I was ready to go work, but at that point, work wasn't even guaranteed with new hires. Um, so I took that opportunity, reach out to Coach Sat, and I was just like, "Hey, do you still want me?" And it was actually Coach Ledford, and Coach Ledford was like, "Hell yeah, come on." So that I was fortunate to do that because it's paying for my second year of my MBA. So it was really just a win-win. And obviously we haven't had the success that we were all hoping early on. But in-house, we definitely think we've turned this thing around, and we can run the table, and finish 7-4. So.
Cameron and Jody.
Hey, Ian, Cameron from the Courier Journal. You mentioned the turnaround, and you feel like in-house you guys have what it takes to finish 7-4. Something Satterfield mentioned on Monday was just the accountability factor has taken a step up from where it was at the beginning of the season. Do you see that within the guys as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like Coach Mike, Coach Sat always talk about the little things, and that's just showing up to breakfast on time, or showing up to the lift 5 minutes early to stretch out, and those things translate to the game if we're lined up correctly. If we have too many guys in the backfield, we get a procedure penalty. Those are direct correlations, and we definitely minimized those issues last week. And I feel like we had a good week. We have this board in the facility, a can't get right board. And, if you do something wrong, you get put on the board and you get punished. We brought those names down tremendously. And, I think that showed on Saturday when, the offense came out, and offense, defense, special teams, we all performed pretty well.
Jody.
Ian, hey, it's Jody from Cardinal Authority. When you look back, and I saw your tweet, I guess maybe yesterday or the day before yesterday, and from where you started, where you started at Vandy and the opportunity to get here, do you sometimes even kind of go, wow, look, I mean, this has been kind of a crazy couple of years, and where you're at right now and what you're doing in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a blessing. I've just been having fun with it. I still get texts from, my buddies at Vandy, and they're like, I can't believe you're still doing this. Like, I can't believe you made the switch over, catching touchdowns. I've caught more touchdowns here than some of my buddies at Vandy, and, I would have never even thought about that. And I'm just having a blast in this offense and just taking in every moment. It's been great.
Russ, go ahead.
Yeah, Ian, Russ Brown from Kentucky Today. I got on this a little bit late, I guess. So if I asked you something you've already been asked, I apologize. How hard was that transition from tackle, and then why did you decide to come back for your senior year? I think you might have been talking about that when I got on, so if you were, just skip that part.
Yeah, so I actually thought I was done playing my senior year at Vandy. And my roommate, Kyle Shermer, he needed someone to throw to because he was training for that season, and then afterwards the combine. So we threw 3 or 4 days a week, and like one of those days he was just like, hey, like, you ever think about coming back and playing tight end? I was like, not really. I mean, at that point, I thought I was done. I lost 40, 50 pounds, whatever it was. And he was like, well, give it a shot. So, I mean, the rest is history. And, Pete Nocta slid into my DMs. And he was like, "Hey, we're looking for O lineman." I was like, "Well, 240 pounds right now, so you probably don't, probably an issue." And he's like, "Well, we need tight ends too." So it was just a perfect match. I mean, and that's how it happened.
Real quick, one follow-up. Do you still have an offer from Goldman Sachs, or you plan on going into investing and so forth, like after this season, like you were last season?
I chose not to start in January, so I've since lost that position, but I have contacts, and I've been networking to find something I'm more interested in. I've been fortunate that that first one I kind of settled for, and so coming back was kind of an easier decision.
Let's go to Michael and then Cameron.
Ian, you mentioned you're enjoying catching touchdowns. I think you have like 7 receptions at Louisville, and I think 4 of them have gone for touchdowns. Coach Satterfield mentioned the other day that the tight ends basically catch either first downs or touchdowns. What's that experience like, knowing that when the ball is in your hands, it's usually a big moment for the offense?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because I plan every time. I'm like, all right, if I catch this first down, I'm giving the little first down, or I'll plan my touchdown celebration, and then it happens, and I just freeze. I'm just like, I'm still a guard, I'm still a tackle at heart. Like I hang out with the O lineman like 24/7. But it's just fun. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, but I mean, I seem to be doing all right at it. So,
Cameron.
I think your first catch of the year last year was the NC State game. Correct me if I'm wrong there. It was obviously a touchdown. At what point last year did Louisville kind of make the switch to like, listen, we're going to try to get the ball in your hands?
Well, it was sort of just kind of like we were taking what the teams were giving us. People kind of knew when 89 was in the game. It was run play. So I think I ran total of maybe 5 to 7 routes last year, and they're basically just backside corners, just run the safety off. So they were just taking what the defense was giving us. You're right. Both times, Miami and NC State, I ran routes to where the safety should have me, man, and he just completely went with the run fake because who's going to cover me? And now it's a little different. Now I had to train in the off season because I knew that I wanted to get in better shape. I wanted to run more routes, and it's definitely tougher with people covering me and putting hands on me. But I'm still learning. So.
All right, we'll take the last 2 and go to Jody and then to Russ.
All right, Ian. This wasn't my question, but I have to ask. So, is there any way Coach Stat and the guys can talk you to come back for another year, or is that out of the question?
Yeah. See, speaking of it, Coach Ledford, he just walked in. He brings it up every day. He's, you'll get, we'll get you 2, 4, 6. We'll get you 8 touchdowns next year. They mention it all the time for sure.
My real question was the other day. I think you all ran maybe a couple of times where you had 4 tight ends or H-backs in the game.
Yep.
Is that something that you've been practicing a little bit more on? I know Sherman was in there and Martin was in there, and then you and Marshawn were in there. Is that's a pretty for a tight end? It's got to be a pretty cool lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely fun to get 4 tight ends in the game. And teams, you just pretty much tell a team like, hey, we're running the ball. And it's just like, hey, come and stop us. And it's so fun getting Sherman there. He's a guy that works his ass off every day. Walk on, and he's a great dude. That's something that stayed in the playbook, and we're continuing to run stuff out of that, and it's a good set for us.
Yeah, Ian, Russ Brown again. Yeah, you may have answered this, but what was the toughest part of going from an offensive tackle to tight end?
I would say just the route running. The furthest you run on the O line is 6 yards, and you're mainly just working in the box. And then now they've got me. I remember I had to run like a corner stop, and I was like, I don't run these. Tutu runs these. And, but that's when I knew. I was like, I've definitely taken my game to the next level. And, I just continue trying to get better at those things. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
How long is that route?
Oh, it's about 15 yards. So, it's the first time I ran it, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Because I just looked lost out there. But, it's a good time.
All right, we're going to pause right there and let Kent Taylor jump in and record this interview with us real fast before we switch gears and go over to Coach Ledford.
Just tell me when we're ready. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, whoever's in the studio today, if it's Austin or Bobby, I'm not sure. But whenever you guys have it set up, just let us know.